So if you read my e-blast this past week, you'll recognize the story. Many years ago, when I was associate minister in Nashville, Tennessee, I was giving the talk. And just in passing, I didn't even really intend to say it, but it came out. And I said, there is no such thing as the devil. And then I finished my talk. And this woman who had been coming for months came running up to me and she said, I must have misunderstood you. I thought you said there's no such thing as the devil. And I said, yeah, that's exactly what I said. There is no devil. Well, she turned around and walked away. And that week, sent to the church, to the office, this was pre-COVID, everybody was in their seats at their computers. I got a handwritten 5-page letter telling me why I was wrong and that the devil existed and so on and so on and so on. And needless to say, she did not come back, which is okay. You know, we draw to us what we need. So I thought there's so many of us here from diverse backgrounds and different traditions, faith traditions, that it might be a good idea to explain to the best of my ability what unity actually teaches. Not what Donna teaches or somebody else teaches, but what unity actually teaches. So, I'm going to begin in the beginning, which is what we recite together every Sunday. There is only one presence, power and presence in the universe and in my life, God the good, omnipotent, omniscient, all-knowing. I've added omni-ardent, all love. I don't know why that wasn't added to begin with. But anyway, everything. There is only God in the world. Period. Okay? Where does that come from? Well, I have studied many things that I've found fascinating. And a lot of them are the ancient wisdom traditions. I am a Hermes Trismegistus student. Hermes was from Egypt, and he was called the master of all masters. He was the scribe of God. He was called lots of things. And then in Greece, they called him the Trismegistus, which is 3 times great. 3 times great. The very first principle in hermeneutics is all. God is all. And God is all-knowing mind. The very first principle is that the universe is mental. And I thought, what does that mean? Universe is mental. It means thoughts held in mind produce after their kind, which is another unity tenet. But I'm sticking with one presence, one power for this day. Okay, well, why is the world so messed up? If God created everything and God is good all the time, how come the world is so messed up? Well, God didn't create this mess. We did. Long time ago, when I've always been religiously bent since I was a little kid, and I learned about the devil and Satan, and I just thought, that doesn't make sense. And I decided for myself that there is God, and God is love, and then there's ignorance of God. And out of that ignorance of God, we make mistakes. We make decisions that aren't in our best interest, nor the best interest of our world, out of ignorance. So I set out right then and there to learn all I could about God. And being from Nashville, Tennessee, which is the buckle on the Bible Belt, I learned a lot about Jesus. And I learned that it wasn't about him, the person. It was about what he taught and what he demonstrated. And he said, these things I do, you shall do also, and even greater things, if we have the understanding that God is all about spiritual principle and consciousness. Now, we are told we're made in the image and likeness of God. Well, how come we all look so different? How many gods are there? Image and likeness of God means, to me, means that we have the same power as God. Now, I'm not saying I'm the all of God, but all that God is, I have it too. I have the power to create. I have the power to affirm life and to heal. I have the power to create, just as God creates. Question is, what am I creating? Well, one of the ways we create is free will. So, what do you want to create today? What do you want to create today? What are you having for dinner tonight? What's on your agenda for today? Create. Every breath we take, we are creating. And sometimes we create missteps. It didn't turn the sorcerer's apprentice, you think you know what you're doing, and then unintended consequences come about. Well, that's why we have the opportunity to forgive, let go, and start over with every single misstep that we take. And because we hold ourselves at such high standards and we make a mistake, self-forgiveness is probably the most challenging. Those other numbskulls, hey, forgive them, Judgment's one big one. Forgiveness keeps us in the flow. One of the things I've studied other than hermeneutics is Ho'oponopono, because I lived in Hawaii and there was a shaman that came to our church. And he was a super sweet guy. Anyway, I learned this technique for healing, and there's a story behind it. Dr. Lou was a doctor in Hawaii who ran a mental institution for the criminally insane. And it was such a bad place that the staff didn't even want to work there. And nobody got better. And it was crowded and just bad. A bad place to be. But because he practiced Ho'oponopono, and it's not just Hawaiian, it's that whole area that the South Pacific that this is known. What he did is he never saw a single inmate. Instead, he took their file and he read through what their symptoms were, what the situation was, what had been done to treat them or not treat them. And then he asked a very important question. He said, what in me would cause such an outpicturing? What in me would cause me to do this? And then he did a process. He said, please forgive me. I want to make sure I've got these in the right order. If I wrote them down. Oh, I'm sorry. That's the first thing. I'm sorry. Now, in unity, we don't like to affirm, I'm sorry. What that really means is, I apologize. I apologize. Who's he apologizing to? The person who has the file? Maybe. Maybe he's apologizing that there's that part of him that recognizes it. I apologize. Second is, please forgive me. Forgiveness releases long-held patterns of erroneous beliefs. Please forgive me that I could judge you to be less than me. Please forgive me. Thank you. An expression of gratitude to awaken to our error thoughts. Thank you. Thank you for mirroring to me where I have a false belief. For mirroring to me where I am not being the best I know I can be. And then the very last step is, I love you. I love you. Now, how can you say, I love you to a criminally insane person that you've never met? Who are you saying I love you? I love you is connecting to the universal love. And it is connecting to yourself, to the child within you, yourself. I love you for being who you are. Really who you are. Not the personality that shows up, not the ego that thinks it knows best. I love you, oh guiding presence in me, healing presence in me. And when he did this for each person, there was a turnaround in the hospital. People started getting better. Conditions improved. Never think that you don't have power to change the world. The trick is catching ourselves when we're separating from others, when we're separating from God, when we're living in separation. One presence, one power in my life is what I need to remember. And if I'm upset, that's my responsibility. My responsibility. Not to change you, not to fix you. It's to recognize that I am out of sync. I'm out of sync with the one presence and the one power, which is always good. Now, why can't it be bad too? Why can't it be bad too? Because that which is out of sync with goodness will self-destruct. It will self-destruct. It's like a snake eating its tail. Eventually, what is not good, what is not pure, will pass away. But what is of God is forever. It is eternal. That's what we want to align with. And we are here to be channels for that expression, to be this little light of mine. We are here to be that in expression, which means we surrender to whatever we are guided to do by that presence. So how do you know it's not your ego talking? Well, my favorite image for that comes to mind, you know, the dog that sits by the great big speaker, the master's voice, and listens like that? That's me. I'm that dog. And I know the sound of the guidance. I know the feel of the guidance versus just my head thinking, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Peace, be still, and know. And that takes prayer and meditation. When I was thinking about becoming a minister, there were ways you could do it. If you lived in a big city and you had a lot of unity churches and a lot of licensed teachers, you could go here, there, and there and get the credits that you needed. There was another way. This little series of books, which I took off the shelf back there, Foundations of Unity. If you took this correspondence course, answered the questions, and sent them in, and passed, you were eligible to apply to becoming a minister. This is the best unity stuff I ever read. Talk about foundation. This is a foundation for living. It explains unity, and it's a little old-fashioned in its language, but you get it. You can get it. I highly recommend it. Highly recommend it. And I don't know if it's still in print anymore, if they even do this. I hope they do, upon request. I hope they do. So if you have questions of why there's only one presence and one power, meditate on it. God's a fun God. God likes diversity. I mean, look at this room. How diverse can you be? A little more. But we live in Green Valley. But this is where we live. So, And God loves a cheerful heart. So thank you for letting me share this. Next week, I want to talk about the person Jesus, I think. Well, that's next. What follows one presence and one power is only logical. If you think about it, that means I'm part of that one presence and one power. I'm part of it. And what part of me is it? It's the Christ within me. And Jesus was a great example of someone who knew that, aligned with it, and taught from that place. And he's not the only spiritual teacher. There are many spiritual teachers that were his level. Many out there. Buddha being one of them. I have become kind of a Christian Buddhist because I've learned a lot from Buddhism also. But we're sticking with our mainstream unity, which is not mainstream Christianity. So I'll talk about that next Sunday.